Hey guys, welcome to You the Boss podcast, episode 76. I'm your host, Pam. And today we're going to be talking about how to stop comparing yourself and to start competing with yourself. Comparing ourselves is not the problem. I want to start out the gate with that. It's an unconscious pattern. Basically, our brains, I don't think comparison is bad. We compare ourselves on social media, we compare ourselves in marriage, our friendships, our relationships with different people, where we're at in our careers, and our journeys with our bodies, our healing. And I don't think it's a bad thing because I think this can be healthy. I think it helps us measure up to our own metrics in some capacity. But I think that where it gets toxic, where it becomes a problem, is when you're letting it steal your confidence, when you're letting it steal your joy. I think it can be healthier to position comparison in saying, what can this teach me? Who do I want to become through this? We compare. And the reason that this can feel triggering is because our brains scan for status, and it scans for safety, it scans for belonging. It's in our nature. And because we've become a society with social media, which again I don't think is a bad thing, because we have become a society with social media compresses timelines. So where you could be right now laying down at home, someone is posting about the incredible vacation they just had in the last week, and you're able to see that. Sometimes we're just coming off of the holiday, so like you'll see people posting their highlight reel for the year, and it becomes almost like a who's going to post what did they accomplish this year. And again, I don't think that's a bad thing, but visually our brains are seeing this entire compressed timeline, and we're internalizing it almost as if it's our current reality. So you're not measuring up actual statistics with someone else. You're measuring, let's say, your lowest point with someone's highlights. And that's where that becomes toxic, because you ignore the fact that everyone starts somewhere. You ignore the fact that the only thing you're seeing is the wins. You're not seeing the moments of self-doubt. You're not seeing the times that they cried, the times that they were stressed out, where they were trying to figure out how they were going to make money. And you're using only their wins against yourself, as opposed to saying, wow, that's so cool. Look at what I can achieve in whatever amount of time. And this is your friendly reminder that you're comparing you're behind the scenes with someone else's best moment. And that's why this becomes toxic. Healthy competition isn't external, it's actually internal. So reframing the mindset that when you compete with yourself instead of comparing with someone else, it becomes internal. It's so personal. Self-competition asks, am I growing from where I was 3 months ago? What area can I improve? Not necessarily overhaul or completely change your life. Confidence isn't built by being the best. It's built by keeping promises to ourselves, like we talked about last week. When you compete with yourself, the comparison becomes data. It's no longer self-judgment. So you're comparing yourself in this capacity of saying, I'm comparing Pam to Pam. I'm not comparing Pam to someone else online, whether I know them or not. It's why when you work out and you start a fitness journey, you're taking pictures and video of yourself to compare to at some point down the line. You're not taking pictures from other people and saying, okay, in X amount of time, let me see if I look like them. No, you're competing against yourself. You're competing against your own body composition. So I've put together a few practical tools for you to turn comparison into growth. As always, treat this as a supermarket approach. I'm not looking for you to internalize every single tool that I give you, but more so for you to find something, for you to look at it from a different perspective rather than, not getting any information from this episode. Number one, the mirror metric. Instead of you asking, am I better than that person? Am I doing what they're doing to get what they have? Ask yourself, am I better than past me? Choose one measurable habit, whether that's consistency, boundaries, self talk, follow through. I think even in now, even if it's not a physical journey for you, I think this is when you should take picture and video of yourself and put it in your phone and make sure that you come back to it a year from now so that you can see how you have changed. What were you doing then that maybe worked, or what were you doing then that didn't work that you're no longer doing? Number 2, the trigger to teacher method. When comparison hits, write to yourself, what triggered that? Who triggered me? What does that represent? What action does this inspire in me? Turn envy into direction. Turn it on yourself. Let it teach you. No, it's not always going to be seeing someone else in a different light and taking it to teach you something. It's not going to happen every single time because that's just not how we are wired. But 9 times out of 10, you can see whatever it was that triggered you, that made you compare yourself. You can take it and turn it on yourself and say, what does this inspire for me? What does this represent for me? What does it highlight? Let it give you direction. Number 3, identify 1% wins. Progress doesn't need to be dramatic. We talk about this often on this podcast. Progress over perfection. Ask yourself daily, what is one small win that I can stack today? Maybe it's recognizing that you did XYZ towards that one goal that you have at the end of March. It's not, progress is never dramatic. The real wins are never really dramatic. They are consistent. Momentum over motivation every time. Number 4, which happens to be my favorite, comparison fasting. What that means is taking intentional breaks from environments, conversations, what you consume as far as media, whether that's online or through streaming or news outlets, and pulling away from those environments that trigger your spirals, pulling away from those environments that put you in a comparison against someone else rather than yourself mindset. Sometimes that can look like muting your friends. If you have a podcast and you're listening to this and you haven't posted in a while, or maybe you feel like you just don't have enough content, or you see consistency or something of the sort, I won't take it personal if you mute me. First of all, it wouldn't alert me, number 1. And number 2, you're protecting yourself. You're putting yourself in a mindset where you're saying, you know what? That's not where I'm at right now. I need to revisit this. I need to recalibrate. And that's okay. You can do the same with your friends. If right now they're traveling and you're just in a position in your life, well, you're not able to travel. Maybe they're in a different season of life and they're getting married and buying a house and those things, and you just got a new job. It's okay to mute other people. It's okay to still be happy for someone and still engage in that for them, but also saying, you know what, I don't want to see all of this on my feed all the time. Putting it into better words, you can control what it is that you consume, at least to some degree. And that could be potentially putting in words even on social media. I share this a lot with my friends. If you're tired of seeing whatever it is you're seeing a lot of on your feed, go into the different social media app that you use most, because we all have one that we use over the other. Put in there the words that you don't want to see. Put in the things that you want to mute out, that you want to blur out, because it's going to protect your mindset. This isn't punishment against anything. This isn't saying how something else could be right or wrong. It's just that you don't want to see it right now. Maybe that looks like you followed someone in your field and it's triggering for you. It makes you compare yourself. It's okay to still have access to them by following them and still having them be part of your social media. And you can also mute them so that you're not seeing it as much, so that you don't fall into comparing yourself to them. Number 5, a personal scorecard. Define 3 categories that matter to you. So that could be energy, confidence, and discipline. Track them weekly, not daily, because every day is different. If you try to track something daily, it turns into perfectionism. And as we know, progress is better than perfectionism. I wanted to list out a few common mindset traps to avoid during the season of reshifting and reframing yourself from comparison to competing against yourself, because I feel like it's important to be aware of them and also realizing that you need to come out of those traps. Saying things like, they're just more confident than I am. Confidence is practiced, it's not possessed. You're not born with confidence. You're born with the ability to choose, and you have to choose to do the action that makes you confident. Statements like, I should be further along. According to who? Based on whose timeline? Oh, well, I've been doing this longer. Okay. And you haven't been doing it exactly as someone else has, which is why you don't have those exact results. Don't fall into that trap that I should be further along, because that person that you should be is someone else's timeline. Create your own timeline. Statements like, if I was really able to do that, it wouldn't be that hard. I would be able to get my stuff together. Growth is uncomfortable by design. Our brains protect us. So whenever we go to incorporate something that changes and causes a little bit of resistance for us, it is automatically going to resist that. We have to work on reframing our mindset. You're not behind, you're becoming. Everyone that you once admired once felt exactly how you feel. They felt like they could have been better off. They felt behind. They felt like I could be better about screen time with my kids. I could be better about the amount of times they snack. I could be better about moving my body. Everyone that you've ever compared yourself to, they felt behind. They have felt like they were comparing themselves to others. You don't need to outrun anyone. You just need to stay in the race with yourself. Self-trust grows when you stop measuring your worth externally. Take that power back for yourself and internalize that competition. Don't compete against anyone else, compete against yourself. This week, I want you to ask yourself, who were you a year ago? Go back in your camera roll, go back in your social media archives, and see, who were you a year ago? What have you survived or learned or strengthened since then? This week, I want to place the challenge to you that I want you to pick a habit to compete with yourself for the next 7 days. So if you're listening to this on a Tuesday, from this Tuesday to the next Tuesday, or whichever day you're listening to it, I want you to take the next 7 days and I want you to compete with yourself on one habit. I want you to choose the one thing that you keep comparing yourself on with someone else, and I want you to compete with yourself. Prove to yourself how you can do this. You don't need to compare your value. You need to compare just showing up. Before we end this episode, I want to encourage you to leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We are on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review. We will definitely appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Come back again next week for another episode of You the Boss podcast.